you some of our approaches, some of our ideas. But before I do that, I would like to show you the dimension. Oops, sorry. When we talk about war for talents, and if we look into international studies, we learn that 33% of the companies worldwide have a difficulty in finding talents, and 39% of Austrian companies say that they are unable to fit their vacancies with experts. And if we look on a worldwide scale, 42% of German leaders say that their companies have a shortage in talents, and this might have an influence on the financial performance. And almost 50% of international leaders say that in the next 5 to 10 years, human resources will be one of the vital topics in their daily business. So we were quite curious to find out what kind of talents are actually searched, and we were very surprised because on the top ranking, it's craftsmen which are looked for. Well-educated people that can be used in a process, in a production process. We always thought that IT people are the most wanted, but if you look on the ranking, they're on space number 9. Very important also, sales staff, civil engineers and technicians. Now, when we talk about war of talents, and when we have in our mind that in the next 5 to 10 years HR will be one of the most important topics, we need to look at future trends. And on your table you find a megatrend map which was published and created by the German Future Institute. And on this map you see different megatrends, and we are very much focusing on one trend, which is this one here. It's called new work. And if you follow this trend, you will see that there are a lot of topics and a lot of crossings with other trends. So what we say is that lifestyle in future will be working style, and working style will be lifestyle. And I will tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. If we talk about strategies, we also have to look at what mechanisms, what levers do we have in HR. What can we do? What movements can we do to attract people to come to our company? And obviously, in the center of our doings must be the value and the culture of our company. The value and the culture of our company is attractive. We will also attract employees. And we have some very interesting areas around the values. If we start here with the HR process, we have the recruitment process, which is very important. And we also have the employer branding. So the question is, what do people think about us? And how do we attract talented people? So obviously this is one of the main challenges. When you look at another field, which is leadership, communication is most important. So you need to communicate, but communication needs to be very focused, needs to be really also well planned. So the question is, how do we talk to our talented people? And something which is very often forgotten is the performance review. What can I do to manage my talents? What can I do to reward and recognize, to reward them and give them recognition? And how do I find the talents within my organization? And if you look at the top, I said what matters to hunt and farm people, and this is one of our strategies. When we talk about hunting, we talk about recruitment, which is very important. But on the other side, we also talk about farming, and farming means that I need to keep my talents within the company, and I need to develop these talents. And it's actually, on the one side, very interesting, but on the other side, also very tragical, that most leaders do not recognize their talents within their company. So they are so much focused on recruiting new talents that they forget that they have a lot of talents within the company and forget to develop them. So when we have if we have a look, how can we keep our talents? We need to have a very employer-centric approach. So in the middle of all our strategies, all our thoughts must be the employer. And around this employer, we need to build our values and our company culture. So that means that within my company value and within my company culture, human resources needs to have a very, very important standing. And to make people come to my business and to make them feel good in my business, I need to create, we call it so-called working universe. So the working universe is actually everything to do within my company to attract people and to make them feel good. And here I would like to talk about one topic we are using. We are not any longer talking about work-life balance, but we are talking about work-life dynamic. Why? In former days you said, we have to find a balance between work and life, and you always had something good and something bad. So obviously work was bad and life was good. So this is something from the past. In the future, our working universe will definitely change. So the 9-to-5 job model is not any longer applicable. You will work 24 hours, but work is part of your life, and life is part of your work. So maybe you go to work, you work 5 hours, then you take a very long break of 3 hours, and then again you work. So that's why we say it's work-life dynamic, so it's more fluidly. When you create a working universe, you also have a direct impact on your customer universe. And probably a lot of you already know that theory or that study, but I would like to show it to you once again. The American shopping company Sears had a very severe problem in the beginning of the 90s. They faced an enormous loss of sales and, of course, had an enormous net loss. So the management changed, and the management came up with the idea to implement a new strategy, and they called it the employee customer profit chain. It's very easy, actually, if you look at it. They said, if I have a compelling place to work, my employees will be motivated, my employees will be caring for the company. That will have a direct impact on my customers, and this direct impact will be seen also in the sales, so in my financial performance. And Sears did something, and this is unique. They also put figures behind that theory. They said, if we are able to increase the employee attitude for 5 units, that will be the driver to increase the customer impression for 1.3 units, and this will result in an increase of revenue growth of 0.5%. So this was the first time a company also used figures to measure. And it worked. After 1 year, they had 9% sales increase, and they had the best profitable year ever in the history of the company. This theory, or it's not a theory actually, it's proof that it works. This strategy was so successful that even the Harvard Business University took it and is still using it as an example. And this is also a little bit we are thinking about now. We are thinking about how can we increase the well-being, how can we increase the attitude of employees in order to drive revenue. And we came up with a very, from our point of view, very simple philosophy. If you take an adequate working space, if you take inspiring working atmosphere, if you take individual well-being, and what we talked about work-life dynamic, we are talking about quality of life. And quality of life means if I am able to increase the quality of life, I'm able to increase productivity, I'm able to increase my employee retention, the attractiveness, and at the end of the day, I will also increase my employer branding. But the big question is, what are the factors to increase quality of life, and what is quality life as such? And yes, you're right. Everybody of you has an own perception of quality of life. If we would make a quick round, everybody would define quality of life differently. So what we did actually, we founded an own institute. It's called Institute of Quality of Life. And the people working there are just focused on finding out what is quality of life. And they came up with the following. They said, and it's true, there are 6 dimensions, and in these 6 dimensions, every one of us is defining his personal quality of life. So the first dimension is the physical environment, the place I am living, the place I'm working. The second one is ease and efficiency. What services can I use to make my life easier, to make my life better? And at the end of the day, if I use services that make my life easier, it means that I have more time for myself. The third dimension are social interactions, and we're not talking only about social interactions between each other, but we're also talking about people from a different cultural area, from a different cultural surrounding, to be integrated in my company. And we all know that we are going to face this challenge very, very soon, sooner as we think. The fourth dimension is recognition. This is something everybody needs. You need to be recognized. And it's not only the salary we are talking about here. There are a lot of different things which make people happy and which make people feel good that they worked something. Then we have the part health and well-being. Here we talk about things about nutrition, about well-being, about recreation, so everything that is good for my body. And the sixth dimension is personal growth, and this is something which is absolutely underestimated. And I'm pretty sure everybody of you knows the Maslow pyramid. And on top of the Maslow pyramid, personal growth is one of the most important factors. And this is something we also need to provide to employees to make them happy. So most of you will say, oh, wow, that's very interesting, but this will be also a high investment. Yes, it's true. It is an investment. But increasing the quality of life automatically also needs that you are reaching your organizational targets. And we are not only talking about employee productivity, but we're also talking about retention, we're talking about sustainability, and we're also talking about collaboration and social life. So our strategy is, if we are able to increase the quality of life, we can increase the productivity of people, and by doing this we can achieve organizational goals. That sounds now very theoretically, so that's why I would like to take you on a journey of an employee, how we see it. So in the morning, you check in at the concierge. The concierge helps you to plan your day. The concierge is checking with you your appointments, your travel plans. You bring your kids to the kindergarten, which is actually run by your company, so you don't need to care about the child. It's safe, it's cared for. Then maybe you give your dirty laundry to the concierge. The concierge is taking care of it, that it's cleaned, and at the end of the day you can take the cleaned laundry at home. The concierge is preparing the meeting for you because you are waiting for a customer, a very important customer. So while you are preparing your presentation, the meeting room is prepared for you, food and beverage is prepared, the meeting room is clean. You have a problem with the laptop, no problem, because your technician, your personal technician is taking care that technique is working, because this is one of the biggest stress factors if technique is not working. And probably you all already experienced that once. And while you are doing your presentation, very relaxed, other people helping you, so your mail is done, your office is cleaned, maybe research or an archive service is done for you. So after the meeting you go to your staff restaurant, and we're not talking about canteens any longer, we are talking about staff restaurants where you get a very nice healthy food, where you get a very nice place to relax and recreate. And after your lunch, you have a new employee, and this new employee will be onboarded by the concierge, because you should really concentrate on your business, but the new colleague should have the best possible start in the company, so the concierge is taking care of this new employee. And in the meeting in the afternoon, you are rewarded because you made a big deal, the contract was signed, and as a reward from the company, you're not getting Sodexo vouchers, no, but you're getting an individual incentive. Maybe your dream is to drive an F1 Ferrari once around the Nürburgring. Okay, the concierge can do that for you. After your meeting in the afternoon, you go to your fitness center, you have your workout, and before you leave home, you go to the concierge. He already did your shopping, so you don't need to shop. And even if you leave the company at 3 o'clock in the morning, your shopping is done, so your refrigerator will not be empty. And while you are at home sleeping and relaxing, there are some people who are taking care of cleaning your business, who are doing the technique in your business. So when you come in the morning again, everything is clear for a new start. Utopia? No, not at all. We are already in the phase, and we have a lot of companies which do already offer that to their employees. Unaffordable? No. By increasing the quality of life of your employees, you are able to increase your sales and your revenue. And this is what we do day by day, actually. We help our customers to find the direct and best strategy to really increase the quality of life and to improve the performance of their employees. We talked about talents within a company, and I also told you that a lot of companies forget that you have a lot of talents within your company, but they're not developed. And that's why I would like to introduce to you the core principle, which is also, from our point of view, one of our strategies to really keep and at the end of the day attract new talents. CORE stands for Communication, Organization, Recreation, and Expert. And the base of the CORE program, or the CORE principle, is actually communication. Okay? So communication between the HR department towards the employee community. And we are talking about HR development, we are talking about process development, and we're talking about change management. So this is what we want to communicate about. And we have two levels. The first level is the individual,